interrupt me. Don't worry about putting your hand up or anything like that. Just shout out if anything's not clear at all. Right.
Just to let
Yeah.
you know as well, I'm in quite a busy dispensary because I'm on a clinical duty today, so
Yeah.
I may drop off for like 2 seconds, but
Yeah,
I'll let you know. Just
that's
ask
fine.
for somebody to cover it.
Serinda's pressed record, so we've got it on recording, so you can go back to the bit you missed, or if they're at the very end, because I won't be able to see your face when you do drop off. If you let me know there was a bit that you missed, and I can just go back to that and share the slides.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the camera doesn't work here, so apologies. I've just tried to start it.
No.
Yeah.
Cool, brilliant. Right, let me get the slides up.
There's been quite a delay because I think we had kind of dispensing procedure ready about a year ago for this trial.
So that's to
what
do
happened
with
there?
I think that was the capacity within the R&D team probably to review. I'd have to go back. We've had quite a few different sites and various different reasons for it taking kind of so long to organise. There was also a change of PI from memory as well. There was PI and then they couldn't do it, so they had to seek out another PI. So I think that might have contributed to the delay in getting to this point as well.
Okay.
I will. Hopefully now, can you see the slides? Yeah, perfect, brilliant. Okay, so obviously we're here for the LeaderPad trial pharmacy session. So LeaderPad is looking at low-dose colchicine in patients with peripheral artery disease to address residual vascular risk. So just to give you a quick kind of summary of what we cover today, I'll introduce you to the UK trial team and we'll go over kind of the rationale, aims of the trial, the eligibility criteria, patient screening and enrolment, randomization and follow-up processes. We'll obviously talk about the IMP that's going to be used in the study. We'll also touch on the study website, which kind of hosts the study documents and training materials, and also the trial management system, where you'll be required to complete an online delegation log for the study. And then finally, I'll just go over a bit about the remaining kind of steps involved in site setup. So LeaderPad is a large international study, and it's been designed and being led by a team of researchers at Population Health Research Institute in Canada. Overall, the study aims to randomise just over 6,000 adults with peripheral artery disease. In the UK, we have our own kind of funding from the British Heart Foundation, and we have our own sponsor, who's the University of Bristol, and the day-to-day management sits with my team within the Bristol Trial Centre, who's also based at the university. And in England, in the UK, we're aiming to bring on board around 20 to 25 sites, and we have our own kind of randomisation target of 1,500 participants. On this slide, so you'll see the top two rows are kind of the core trial team, and the third row kind of details the kind of wider co-applicants, collaborators who are part of the wider kind of trial management group. During setup and conduct of the trial, your main points of contact are myself, Serinda and Craig, and we're all available via the study mailbox, which have already been communicating to us via, and we also have a group telephone number that you can contact us on. In terms of a bit of kind of background to the study, so atherosclerosis is a chronic inflammatory disease, and it's one of the major causes of MI, stroke, acute limb ischemia, and related mortality. And it has three major clinical manifestations, and they are coronary artery disease, cerebral vascular disease, and peripheral artery disease. And although PAD is kind of the least recognised of those, it still affects over 230 million people worldwide. And at the moment, kind of treatments focus kind of on secondary prevention, including kind of lifestyle changes, risk factor modification, and antithrombotic therapy. But despite these, this population still have a very high risk of acute vascular complications. So clearly there's a need for some additional kind of strategies or treatments to reduce this risk. And although atherosclerosis is fundamentally a lipid-driven inflammatory disease, most of the interventions to prevent vascular events don't actually address that inflammatory mechanism. And that's where colchicine comes in. So it's a low-cost anti-inflammatory drug. So it's commonly used in the UK to treat gout. And it's already been shown to be effective and safe at reducing vascular events in patients with coronary artery disease, but it hasn't yet been tested in those with PAD. And it's thought that those with PAD stand to benefit more from treatment than those with coronary artery disease because they have more extensive atherosclerosis, more pronounced inflammation, and a higher cardiovascular and reverse limb risk. Sorry, skip the slide. And overall, kind of the objective of LeaderPad is to examine the efficacy and safety of colchicine 0.5 milligrams daily in reducing the incidence of cardiovascular death, MI, stroke, or severe limb ischemia requiring intervention, including major vascular amputation in PAD patients. So I've already mentioned it's part of an international project. Currently, the trial is open in Canada, Brazil, Switzerland, Netherlands, US, and the UK. And in the UK, we've already got 12 sites open. In terms of trial design, it's a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial with an active run-in period. So on this next slide, I'm going to show you that you can see the trial pathway. So potential participants undergo an initial eligibility check assessment, and then they're consented into the trial. They then proceed with an active run-in period, which involves them taking colchicine for a 2 to 3 week period. And at the end of the run-in period, they will be assessed for tolerance and also adherence. If adherent and tolerant, they're then randomized to 0.5 milligram daily of colchicine or a matching placebo. And then they're then followed up 6 monthly until the end of the trial. In the first year, they also have a couple of additional adherence phone call checks at 3 and 9 months. The primary outcome of the trial is the rate of major adverse cardiovascular limb events, and that's a composite outcome consisting of cardiovascular deaths, MI, stroke, and severe limb ischemia that requires a vascular intervention or major vascular amputation. And there are a number of secondary outcomes. Obviously, these are all detailed in the study protocol, including looking at that, the components of that composite outcome individually. And then also there's some quality of life outcomes that are assessed by questionnaires that the participants complete at randomization and then annually thereafter. There are also a number of secondary outcomes, which include some safety outcomes, and there's some other outcomes of interest as detailed here on the screen, all which are documented in the study protocol. In terms of eligibility, so for inclusion criteria, looking at participants that are over 18 years old and they've got symptomatic lower extremity PAD, and they need to fill at least kind of one of the following on the screen, so A, B, C, or D. And all eligibility in the trial has to be signed off by a medically qualified doctor who's been delegated that task. In terms of exclusion criteria, you've got contraindication to colchicine documented in the SMPC, any kind of long-term requirement for colchicine for any other clinical indication, active diarrhea, eGFR less than 30, cirrhosis or severe chronic liver disease, or a woman who is pregnant or breastfeeding or of childbearing potential who's not protected by highly effective contraception or is planning conception during the study. There are also a number of drugs which are excludes them for taking part, listed under 7. Patients who are deemed unlikely to return for follow-up, any patients with life expectancy less than a year, and male participants shouldn't father children for at least the 6 months following the termination of the study drug. So after the participant has undergone the kind of active run-in phase, the following criteria must be met for the participant to be randomized. The participant must have taken a minimum of 11 tablets and reported 80% drug adherence, and a medically qualified doctor has to have assessed the participant as tolerating colchicine, and obviously the participant has to be happy to be randomized. Participants aren't eligible if they've received renal replacement therapy, had a new episode of peripheral neuropathy or neutropenia in the active run-in period. And this diagram here on the screen that just highlights there's a kind of 2-stage screening process. So all patients who meet the first 2 eligibility criteria, so over 18 years and have symptomatic lower extremity PAD, they're screened in full. Participants are provided with the study information and approach from consent. Consented patients then undergo kind of final eligibility, and that might include a blood test for EGFR if they haven't had a recent result, and also a pregnancy test if they're of childbearing potential. And then if they're eligible, then they're enrolled in the active run-in phase where they're prescribed that colchicine for a 2 to 3 week period. And on this slide here, you just see an overview of kind of the activities that happen at baseline. So you've got that eligibility check, consent, the colchicine run-in prescription, and you may have a blood test if you don't have a recent result. So if a participant is eligible for the active run-in, the kind of following tasks need to be completed. So the main kind of research team, they enter data from the run-in CRFs onto the study database. They then go into Roam, which is our online IMP management system, to get a kit number to dispense to the participant. That online IMP management system, once a patient has been, once they've completed a run-in form from them, that there is an email notification with the kit number to dispense that is sent to all pharmacy team members who are on that system. They then need to complete a leader pad prescription and add on the colchicine box number allocated by Roam. And then this gets signed off by the clinician and the pharmacy team. And there are full guides on how to kind of use the database for data collection and also the online IMP management system. Enrolled patients then need to be provided with their allocated box of 20 colchicine 0.5 milligram tablets and an active run-in patient card that details they're on the study and they are taking colchicine. For cases where patients do not take the minimum number of tablets, for example, if they lost the medication, there is an option for them to repeat the run-in process, and that involves essentially the same steps as the active run-in, but there are some additional rerun-in CRFs that the study team have to complete. So the study team enter the data from the rerun-in CRFs onto the study database, complete a rerun-in form in Roam, the online IMP management system, complete the prescription with that kit number on, that prescription gets signed off. So moving on to the randomization visit. So on this slide, you'll see kind of a list of activities that are completed at randomization. So you've got that final eligibility check for randomization, checking drug adherence and some medical history that's collected as well. Obviously the randomization and then that blinded prescription for colchicine or placebo. So if a participant is eligible for randomization, the following tasks need to be completed. So the study team enter data from the CRFs for the randomization visit, and they complete a randomization form within that online IMP management system, which then gives the kit numbers to be dispensed to the participant. And again, an email notification does go to the pharmacy team with those kit numbers. A prescription is completed with the kit numbers on. And obviously that gets then signed off by the pharmacy team and the clinician. And there is a target of 3 randomizations per month. For yearly follow-ups where repeat prescriptions are given, the exact same process kind of follows. So you've got the data from the follow-up visit is entered onto the study database, a form is completed in Roam, and the prescription is completed. And then randomized patients are then provided with 3 boxes containing the blinded study medication and a leader pad randomization card, which details they're on the study and may be taking colchicine. And the same number of boxes are provided at those annual follow-up visits. The only time a different number of boxes may be provided are in cases where there's lost medication, and there is an option on the IMP management system to do an unscheduled visit for that purpose. On this slide here, you'll see kind of an outline of data activities to be collected at the follow-up visits. With regards to the annual EGFR and full blood count monitoring, where the results aren't available during the study visit, if there are no other safety concerns or other reasons for discontinuation of the study medication, the medication can be dispensed. And if once available, the results indicate that the participant should be withdrawn from the study treatment, the site will need to contact the participant to inform them of this. And that's all in the study protocol and has been agreed by the MHRA. In terms of final follow-up visits, they're kind of scheduled in the last 6 months of the UK kind of follow-up period, or earlier if we're notified by the international DMSC that the primary outcome event rate has nearly been reached. And obviously we'll be in touch when we get to that time point. In terms of IMP flows, so both the active run-in and the blinded product are being manufactured by Tia Pharma, and the international sponsor are contracting with them to carry out that service. So Tia Pharma are doing 2 manufacturing campaigns. The first was completed at the start of last year, and the second will be completed sort of later on this year, early next year. In the UK, we're then contracting with Eramil to store and then distribute the IMP to sites, and there'll be up to kind of 6 dispatches to sites during the trial. And the initial order and the kind of subsequent orders will always be placed by kind of us here in the trial management team. The initial order will contain kind of 6 months worth of the study medication, and that's based on the target of 3 randomizations per month. And that equates to 60 blinded product boxes and 24 active run-in product boxes. As well as kind of acknowledging the shipment on Roam, the online IMP management system, when you receive it, you'll also need to complete shipment paperwork in the shipment from Eramil, return that to Eramil. That includes downloading temperature data, so there'll be temperature loggers within the shipment, and there'll be instructions on how to use those within the shipment as well. And yeah, you'll then need to email back that shipment form to Eramil to confirm there's been no temporary excursions, damage to the product. The medication does need to be stored below 25 degrees. Temperature monitoring can be done according to your kind of own local systems. If there are any temperature excursions, they need to be reported to us kind of immediately, and the study medication will need to be placed in quarantine while you await further instruction from us. In terms of prescriptions, we do have 2 template prescriptions that can be used, one for baseline and one for post-randomization. We do allow sites to use their own prescriptions as long as they're sent to us for approval fast.
I'm really
Yeah.
to interrupt.
Yeah,
Sorry
no.
to interrupt. We use an electronic prescribing system,
okay,
so it's going to be built.
That's fine. So we've got 2 other sites that do that, Sussex, and I've forgotten which the other one is. And what I did ask them to do, and I don't know if it's the same, if they just sent me a little screenshot of kind of the fields built in, just to confirm that you've got like the ID, the date of birth, and all the things that kind of on our templates were included in that. Is that possible for you to kind of send those kind of similar screenshots to us?
Yes. So
Yeah.
what I can do, I can do it on a fake patient.
Yeah.
It's at the moment still kind of not been transferred to the live environment, but it's been built.
Yeah.
So I can send you screenshots for both open label and a blinded product.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
And then here's a Roam, the online management system. So that tracks kind of the status of individual IMP packs is where we place orders, and it also kind of logs return and destruction of all individual packs. And it's got a full order trail, but the only thing it doesn't do is log actual dispensing kind of time date, because it marks a packet as dispensed at the point when you get the kit number for that participant. So we do ask that sites complete kind of like a paper dispensing log. And we've got 2 templates here. So I'm not sure if you wanted to use our templates, Christina, or some sites are using their own kind of paper log templates and just sending us copies for approval.
So I'm happy to send you. I don't know whether the colleague who set it up with me has already sent them to you or not, but
okay,
I'm happy to resend it to you. We have created our own.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Okay. So, but I think I'll just send them to you with the prescription screenshot.
Shouldn't that make sense? Get it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good.
And then with Roam, this is just a screenshot of Roam kind of looks like. And and it's got different sections for like participants, which the sites will be using to get the kit numbers, and then there'll be the shipments and inventory as well. So when you get that shipment, you have to go on obviously and acknowledge that. There is a training guide, and there's also a training video. It's a fairly straightforward system to use, not had any issues with any of the sites today. In terms of adherence, kind of monitoring accountability, so we do ask that sites ask participants to bring back the empty, unused kind of part use packets at randomization and then yearly, and for like teams at site to count the remaining tablets, and that information then does need to be kind of input onto Roam, and then when you're ready to destroy at pharmacy, you just let us know, and we have to go to our sponsor rep to kind of give authorization to destroy any kind of unused medication. And also, in addition to that, we ask participants a general question about their adherence in the last week at each follow-up time point as well. In terms of unblinding, so the safety profile colchicine is quite well known. It's probably quite unlikely that emergency blinding is going to be needed unless there's like a really clear clinical need or other emergency that dictates that. If there is, any doctor treating the participant can contact the emergency unblinding service. So there's a 24-hour line that's hosted by the international sponsor. And the contact details of that are on that patient card that the patient carry around with them. In terms of kind of training documents and videos, so obviously we're recording this. I'll share the slides as well afterwards. All the other kind of training manuals are on the study website. It is password protected, so only sites can access it, and the password's on the screen there. And then there's matrix that I shared with you as well about which roles need to do which training. So for pharmacy staff, obviously, either attending this session or watching the recording, reviewing the slides. And then also you need to review the Roam training video and the Roam training manual. And then obviously you've got the local pharmacy manual as well. In terms of trial files and study documents, so obviously we maintain a TMF. All study documents and regulatory documentation can be found on the website as well. Again, with the same password. In terms of storing investigator site files and pharmacy site files, we do ask sites to populate and maintain those. They can be electronic or paper, depending on your kind of own local requirements about how you normally store those. There is a template contents list on the study website that you can use if you wish to. In terms of delegation log, so we use an in-house system called Mango for our delegation log, and it kind of also acts as a training log, because when you go on to register with Mango, you add in the date you attended the SIV and also the training dates that you've done your kind of Roam training, and it will ask for a code word from the Roam video to show you watched that. You also upload your CV and GCP to that system. So in terms of pharmacy staff, Christina, we usually ask for the kind of the lead pharmacist and lead technician to be on our delegation log. And then for other members of staff, you've got a large team. We're happy if you want to put them on your own training log to show that you've trained them, as long as we get a copy of that before we provide them with any access to kind of that online IMP management system. And then in terms of kind of site setup, so it's a 2 kind of stage green light process. So everything within this table on the screen kind of needs to be completed. So we obviously all the agreements, all the documents localized, everyone on the training on the Mango delegation log and been signed off by the PI. Once you're signed off by the PI, we provide you in the first instance with access to that online IMP management system. Once we have everything in the table completed, I send a pack of documents from your site to our sponsor rep who reviews them, and they then give me green light to be able to ship the IMP to you. Once the IMP has been received at site, it's been acknowledged on the online IMP management system, and all the delivery paperwork from Eramor has been completed, we then grant access to the database and Roam to all non-pharmacy staff. And then after they've confirmed access is fine, we then give the green light to start recruiting. And then there's just one final slide. So I think you've already got our email address. We've got a group phone number, but we also have individual phone numbers within the signature if for some reason you're struggling to get through to that number in an emergency. And I'll just stop sharing. Okay. Don't know if you had any questions, Christina?
Yes, I have a few.
Yeah.
Because it's been quite a while, can I just double check what's the latest version of the protocol that we've got?
Yeah, so it's UK version 4. So you know it's in the footer there because we're using a master. So it's version 5, but UK version 4 dated 16th of January.
Perfect.
So it's probably the same one. Since we have opened,
we
haven't done any amendments to the protocol since we opened.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
And then the pharmacy manual as well.
That is version 2. There were some minor changes. But I think again you might have the latest one because that was quite some time ago. And again, we issued that before we opened any site.
I've got 1.3.
Oh, so no, it's one. You're right. Sorry, we didn't up it to a full version. Let me just double check here because we didn't want to confuse people. Where are we? Manuals. Oh no, wrong bit. I think you might be right with the 1.3. Where are we? 1.4, so we have gone up. There've been some minor. So if I send that through to you now, there were very minor. It's more clarification, so a bit of update. I'm just looking at update to destruction information about how you need to kind of come to us for authorization for that, and an update just to explain that Aramore will have those temperature loggers kind of in the shipment to clarify that, and also an update to say that the initial orders usually contain a 6-month supply of study medication, and then we'll do 3 to 6 orders. So it's no major changes, but I'll send that one through to you.
Okay. Another question I had was, what is our site number?
Good question. I'll just get up your list. So we've got lots of sites. So I just confirm that with you.
I think way back when we did ask, but apparently that was going to be assigned during
I think we wait until we get kind of it's 12:15.
12:15.
And then all your patients will be, so that'll be the site code, and the participant IDs will be 12:15-0001 would be your first participant, for example. Okay. So that's what it'll look like when it comes through. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we spoke about the prescription and the accountability logs. I don't seem to have the Rome manual in my folder.
I can send you that. There's some nice little training slides as well that kind of just add to that. If anytime you need any other training documents or any of the documents, if you go onto the website, you can just download them all from there. But I'll send those two through to you, and I'll also send you the link to the Rome training video as well, but that's also on the website. But when we write up, say Surinder will write up this report late, she's got a few to write up, so it might come sort of early next week to you and the whole team, because obviously we'll compile everything we've discussed with the main team as well, so it will all be in there as a reminder as well, but I'll send them across now.
The only issue that I think you mentioned about the main pharmacist and the lead technician on the delegation log, that's all fine. However, how we work internally is we have an internal training log, and people who are going to kind of do a task, let's say do a shipment or whatever, they will only sign that once they're doing a task, or let's say an amendment or something. So it's kind of like we don't all sign it when we do the training straight away. We sign them as we do a task, because we're quite a big team. Certain members of staff might never end up working on the trial. The only thing
I can visit with that, because obviously with Rome we need to get accounts set up. So if you're for the shipments and Rome, so I'd need to know who was doing those tasks in order to be able to get those accounts set up, and obviously have to go, those systems are hosted by the international sponsor, so I have to provide them with names. So we do have some big, like Hull as an example, they've got a massive pharmacy team. So we've got lots and lots of people, but they all they've got those accounts, but then it might just be
people to sign it just in advance so that you have a list of
list.
people.
And yeah, I think just for that initial shipment, and we'll know in plenty of time. So obviously for the first shipment, you'll know when you're needing it. So if you need to add someone last minute to your log too, because you think on that particular day there'll be someone different around that's going to be acknowledging it on Roam, that's fine. And then obviously we're doing shipments only kind of 6 times during the trip, so you'll get plenty of notice if you need to add additional members, that'd be fine. But yeah, if I could have an initial list of who you think might need access and get them on the log, your kind of training log, just for doing that task, that would be really good. Yeah.
Okay. And just quickly double check, we're only doing it in one site for this.
Yes, so it's Royal Infirmary. Yeah.
Okay. And then have you guys signed the contract with RNI yet, or are you just waiting for the SIV to be completed?
No. So we've got the contract signed for your site, and they've also issued C&C as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to request that. So
RNI. I can send while I'm sending you the Roam stuff, I can attach those into the email if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, we'll try and get these all done as soon as possible. It was kind of just on the back burner.
No, I know, because there's so many. Yeah, you've got so many trials, and this one's taken a while to come through. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll send all those things out in an email to you this morning. And I'll also I'll put in their email about the Mango getting on the deck, so you can start. Who will the two main people be going on the Mango system, our delegation log? Then will it be yourself and?
So myself and one of the technicians. So possibly Gail Sylvester.
Okay.
I'll just ask her to do it as well.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Brilliant.
Although we tend to just have 2 pharmacists. Because
it can be. We usually just say the main 2 people. So if you have 2 pharmacists rather than a technician and a pharmacist, that's fine. It usually just the 2 people that are going to kind of have main oversight within your team.
Yeah,
of the
just
trial.
because I'm here once or twice a week, so we tend to have somebody else who's here full time.
Yeah.
Just to make sure there's a pharmacist when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay,
brilliant.
I think
Thank you so much, Christina.
Answers a lot of questions. I may not be able to send those documents to you today, depending on how busy my clinical check day is going to be. But tomorrow, definitely. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Lovely.
Take care,
Thank
Christina.
you. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.